You are now listening to the Fight Horizon podcast, hosted by Dan Rathmanner. Join him on his journey where you will meet people from all walks of life and their connection to jiu-jitsu. Now, with no further delay, let's fight the horizon.
Fight Horizon episode 25, big mile marker episode. It's a very important episode. It's a goal achieving episode, guys. I appreciate you listening. A very special guest for us today, Mr. Jon Forever Free Friedland.
Oh, stop it.
You know, I've been looking forward to this a lot. I don't like to call it an interview, but just have a nice conversation with you on here. It's been a long time that I've known you.
Me too.
About what? Eight
Since Mankato days.
Since Mankato days. So 9 years? Something like that?
Yeah.
Something like that? Yeah, because I think I'm coming up on 10 years in jiu-jitsu here soon. So that's how I try to...
That's a big anniversary, right? The 10-year.
It is. But Jon, for all the Fight Nation fans, has been a deep friend, mentor, just a great guy to talk to throughout the whole time I've known him. He had started the Neutral Ground Revolution. Let's do it. Yeah, let's do it. Neutral Ground Revolution. All right. So he started in actually the first Neutral Ground, was that actually Milwaukee or was that?
Yes. So it would actually, a lot of people don't know, it was actually in Shorewood.
Shorewood.
A sub thing of Milwaukee. In the basement of a deli.
Mm-hmm.
That was the first place. It was probably, I don't know, 500 square feet,
500.
maybe.
Okay.
I'm just throwing it out there, but it kept flooding. The restaurant upstairs would, on a rainy day, while they're doing dishes, we'd have to pull the mats back and clean it up real quick, and so flow like water, taken literally. We were basically drowned out of that location, and then we went, as an emergency, almost. We just took another even smaller space in downtown Milwaukee, which is actually a block from where we are now for the east side location. Mm-hmm. So we had a couple growing painfully in the early, and it's hard to move when you're just starting out and you don't even have the manpower to get things going, but we made it. It was awesome. But yeah, it was actually Shorewood was actually the very first.
How'd you pick out the logo right away?
The Neutral logo?
Yeah.
Dude, so it was, I went to a website and they kind of, I can't draw anything, especially on a computer.
Right. It's tough.
Yeah, I can't even use a calculator. And it was one of those things where it would say like, okay, would you like a logo? We'll design it for you, and then if you like it, you buy it, whatever. But it was like, okay, do you want things that look real professional, like universities, how they look, or whatever, or like almost like looking like Greek, or whatever. And I'm like, no, not like that. Or do you want things that look like nature? I'm like, oh, that's kind of cool. But then it showed a bunch of like trees and like butterflies. I'm like, okay, that's getting weird. And there's like geometrical stuff, and so they would let you line them up. You could be like academic plus natural plus like whatever, and it would, in a little matrix, it would draw stuff for you. And for us, it was I wanted something like water and something spherical or whatever, and I kept flipping through all these little thumbnails of it, and one of them just hit me right. That's what ended up being the symbol. I was like, no way, this is it, man. Like I wanted something that symbolized the flowing like water. You don't have to meet resistance with more resistance. And something that showed the continuity of learning and evolution, and like it clicked. It was circular instead of what kind of irked me with some of the other logos I was seeing was the predictable angles and the like steadfast, like this is the way it is kind of thing. But the circle showed that it was kind of to me represented that whole like things just kind of go in cycles, and they change, and it's okay to let things change, and it's okay to accept things as they are instead of demand that they are a certain way. Combining that with the wave to represent the water, it was perfect. And just like a bad tattoo idea, I was like, as soon as I said it, before I committed to it, I slept on it, and I slept on it again, and I kept coming back to it. I took 2 weeks off of not even looking at it to make sure I was still in love with it, and I was like, this is it, man. It's grabbed me. It actually kind of makes my hands sweat looking at it, especially when I see it all over the place now.
So when you started 500 square feet in your first place that kept flooding, and,
Yeah.
and you're sitting here making effort to make sure that you sleep on the logo you choose, and that you actually, have the mentality that, oh, this is going to be, I don't know if at that time you're thinking it's going to be everywhere. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I had no
But
idea where it would
that's
go.
a lot of thought.
It was. I'm glad we did put a lot of thought in it because I like tattoos. I made some decisions on the fly where it's like, dang it. But it's held strong. It's getting stronger with time.
Yeah, I mean, it's on a lot of people's skin now.
Yeah, it's tattooed. It's on all these cards. It's on.
Gosh, you name it.
Yeah.
You name it.
I like seeing it. It gives me a good feeling. It makes me feel like I'm doing the right thing.
Mm-hmm.
Makes you feel like, especially when I'm exhausted. We always go through those phases where we're like super exhausted. Why am I doing this? Why, you're making sacrifice. You make sacrifice for anything you're doing. But it's a good reminder that things are working.
Yeah, yeah. So to introduce John a little bit more, head instructor at NutriGround Milwaukee, Bayview as well, NutriGround Bayview.
Yeah.
Affiliate instructor for Grafton, Sheboygan,
and Stevens Point.
And Stevens Point.
Yep.
Okay. Among other affiliations, you're kind of the
Yeah.
guy in Wisconsin right now for Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I would
Yeah,
say.
it's pretty neat, man. It's a weird place to be, but I take it seriously too. There's a lot of responsibility with being the guy that people look to, and you don't always win. You don't always do the right thing, but like you try to at least keep that gentle pressure on yourself to do the right thing. And it's a good reminder for that.
How much is that gentle pressure? Do you think? I mean, do you expect more out of yourself than others, or do others expect more out of you?
I expect a lot out of myself, but it's based on what others expect of me. And sometimes, so you're gonna have people you don't agree with, but I'm about having all of our journeys, even if they're separate, be fruitful. Like
Awesome.
have us all like succeed somehow,
Yeah.
And I say like I've been saying this for years too. I just want everyone to find their jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to even be jiu-jitsu, and it doesn't have to be with neutral ground if it is jiu-jitsu. It could be quilting. It could be jiu-jitsu at another school. Like whatever it is, I want people to find their something, their passion, put it into something, and belong to something. Be a part of some kind of group, and especially lately with stuff going on in the news, like I'm real pushy with making sure that people do find it, even more so than I have been in the past, because it's always that guy that doesn't belong to your group or my group or any group at all that you find shooting up schools.
Yeah.
You find like they're all you can't just because someone's weird or someone's kind of off. You guide them in a direction where they can be not off, where they are in some family.
Right. Or they fill that void.
Somehow.
Yeah.
And so we're animals. We're not meant to be. I mean, we're pack animals. We're
Right.
not meant to be
Right.
on our own.
Right.
On our own, we die.
Right.
And humans with our, front brain, we have the ability to take others with us too, and that's what frightens me. Especially now having two little kids.
Yeah.
I want everyone to find their jiu-jitsu. And like I said, it doesn't have to be arm bars and chokes. It can be running or quilting.
Yeah.
Underwater basket weaving.
Yeah, the amount of people that I've met in jiu-jitsu is remarkable, and the range of people, personalities, what they do is, I could never imagine it.
What
really.
an eclectic group.
Yeah, yeah,
No, everywhere. No, every dojo you go to. It's like you walk in. There's a lawyer. There's a hobo.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
a bodybuilder. There's a skinny rail. A yoga expert. Everything in between. And I feel, especially at neutral ground too, as part of the name. It's just like you be you. Just be the best you. The coolest version of you that you want to be. Whatever you are. Whatever your profession, whatever your hobbies outside, whatever your style of jiu-jitsu is in this school. So it's I'm proud of that, maintaining that culture and trying to amplify that.
yeah. I know there are countless people that would agree with you, and they're thankful that you have opened it up. I mean, from what I've even seen in my 10 years, 8 years, whatever it is, right? It's blown up, man.
Yeah.
It's gotten crazy where I wouldn't think I'd have 2 black belts in my gym.
Or even, I mean, when you started, were there any black belts in Wisconsin?
I don't think so.
I mean, think about that.
I don't know. I when I started, I just got man, I got used to seeing white. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
White and blue was pretty big. Blue was a big deal.
Blue was the black belt.
Yeah,
And it was. We would drive 3 hours, 4 hours, or even fly to other cities
Yep.
just to find another person who had stripes on their belt, on their white belt. Mm-hmm. And that was just to find someone interested in this weird, borderline culty activity.
Right.
Where it was like, you guys are choking each other. I remember hearing back in the day, someone said, "No, man, you don't choke somebody unless you want to kill them." Like they were really offended by the fact that we were choking each other. Like it was really like like they were like. So it was almost like kind of underground a little bit.
Yeah.
So you had to go find these other people that also had the Fight Club wink.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
like,
yeah.
And one of my biggest concerns in the beginning was, man, is this carpet burn gonna last? Because we didn't even have mats. You know what I mean? So it was like, it was a joke.
Yeah, that's bad. Yeah. Yeah. No, it's quite evolved. You know, you're affecting a lot of people. You know, I've been to a lot of different seminars. I've been to your seminars. I've been to other seminars. I've been to other gyms, things like that. From what I can see is you have a little bit of a different demeanor teaching jiu-jitsu, right? So you have kind of a unique ability to make it fun, weird, and then serious at the same time.
Yeah, cool. I'll take this.
All in a positive way, man. All in a positive way, and it's kind of fun to see that has affected other people, and it's grown so much.
Yeah.
You know.
And somebody told, I heard this somewhere, like once you got people laughing, they're listening.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And once they feel safe, they can have fun. And once they're having fun, they can be themselves. And once they can be themselves, they can learn the technical traits in their own way. The technical aspects of jiu-jitsu in their own way. Like you and I and nobody in the probably 1,000 people that are in neutral ground in Milwaukee do the same armbar you were taught the same way. Come on. That's
Right.
super artistic.
It's like writing a language.
I was just thinking about that on the way up here, how this is just I think about it all the time. It's just you're bilingual now. I speak jiu-jitsu better than I speak English. That's for
Yes.
sure.
Yeah.
That doesn't say much for
That makes sense.
for jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's another language. You become bilingual, and it's a language that you can speak anywhere, not just in the dojo. That's what's so cool. You can, while you're in a traffic jam, while you're in a situation out at Walgreens or whatever, like raising your kids or whatever, you can speak that language to them. Not by armbarring an infant, but
Maybe when I'm bored.
But yeah, their arms it's hard to get their little elbow up on your hips. I've tried. It's like you got to really you almost pull their shoulder out of socket to get enough of their arm through. Other they don't have they're so tough and prideful. They don't tap.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, maybe they don't know how to tap.
Well, part of learning, right? To teach those who do not know.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
This thing's actually pretty good. This is so I don't drink coffee.
Yeah.
I love the smell of it, but I hate the taste.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But I drink tea, and this is a tea thing.
Chai tea.
Chai tea.
A chai tea latte?
I don't drink dairy. There's definitely milk in here, isn't there? Yeah. You'll hear that later.
Man, dude, I had
Damn it.
the worst stomachache I've ever had from, what was that called? Milk jam?
What?
Milk
jam?
jam.
No, is it jam? Okay, God.
Wait. How do I describe this to you? It's like you boiled down milk and made it a whipped cream substance.
It's like yogurt-ish.
Way thicker. Way thicker.
Like butter. Oh, so it's still liquidy.
Not at all. It's like a whip.
Well, condensed milk.
It's reduced milk.
Reduced milk.
It's like one tablespoon of that wrecked my life for about a good day.
Because it's concentrated dairy.
Yeah, and it was like a nuclear bomb off of my stomach.
Dairy's garbage.
Yeah,
we gotta stay away from dairy.
Isn't there something? And I've mentioned this on another podcast. There's something about drinking, another animal's milk.
Yeah, goat, sheep. Oh,
Yeah.
or something weird about it.
Yeah, something weird about it. Isn't there? I mean, is there another species out there that does that? I don't think so. I mean, like.
Yeah, I've heard that argument about why would you eat another species' milk for their babies, designed for their babes?
Right.
But also, I mean, just because something doesn't happen in nature doesn't mean they wouldn't if they could. Mm-hmm. And I don't know.
Yeah, well, yeah.
It's
yeah.
if they could figure it out or whatever.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I personally don't think dairy is very good for you. Mm-hmm. But specifically, but everybody's got their thing. Everybody's got a twist on something. So.
I feel like it's coming out of style. Does that make sense?
Good. Please.
With almond milk and soy milk and all these other milks.
Soy milk also stresses me out. Everything stresses me out. I'm reading so much about food, because now again I care now way more.
Right, because you
my
care
offspring.
about what you give your offspring.
Yeah, can I identify them technically? We're just talking about that too before we went on, like about the lead in the water.
Yeah, yeah.
That stresses me out probably number one health wise, especially living in Milwaukee. And we were just talking about like, sure, the water getting to your house is some of the cleanest water in the world, because we had that cryptosporidium scare, back in the whatever, and so we nuked the water. Everything's great coming to your house, and through the pipes and everything's great, but getting from the city's water supply to your actual personal house, that is not protected. And so I don't know if they're trying to. I know there's some people trying to come up with ways to subsidize to get that fixed for people, but like we have a water filter in our house, like, and that's just another deceiving thing too. A lot of those water filters you buy, they says it protects against all this stuff, but it won't include lead on it. So you have to make sure it says
lead.
Yeah, and so man, like I know for example, like product placement, but those the PUR, with the umlaut above the U, those do. That's what we use. That'll get you, especially with a little turd, a little 2-year-old. Man, stay away from the lead and stay away from the dairy.
I mean, with what, like examples like Detroit, right? That's the worst you could actually.
That'll ruin my day if we talk about that.
Right,
That's just awful. That's just.
I mean, it's absolutely terrifying to see that that's actually going to happen in the 21st century. So,
When we have absolutely 1,000 ways to stop that, and talk about expenses. I'm sure there's no lack of money going into the government. It's not like they need to raise taxes to do something like this. It's like people on a personal level. It's not the amount of money you make; it's the amount you spend.
Yeah.
And the government spends it on whatever they feel like in whoever's pocket, instead of protecting little babies and their ingestion of
water.
Stuff. God.
The one of the substances that they need right off the bat. You're a human being.
Yeah.
I mean, you need water.
Yeah. But anyway.
Don't
ruin
digress.
my day.
We're not going to do it. We're not going to ruin your day. Next question.
Yeah. What's going on?
How'd you start jiu-jitsu?
How did I start jiu-jitsu? It's kind of like a lot of people, it was kind of a...
How long ago was that, by the way?
So it depends how you determine the start.
Okay.
I started like in a barracks room on the carpet, of course.
Okay.
Secretly on evenings we weren't doing stuff in the army, living in Germany. Mm-hmm. But I did it because I was... we saw the first few UFCs, like almost everybody that started back
solid.
then.
Okay.
Yeah. We saw Hoist Gracie, who was still quite a bit bigger than me at the time, but he was smaller than everybody else and so gangly and just looked like a lurf.
Mm-hmm.
He just... But man, when he went out there, it was like... Because we're placing bets on who's going to win. Like, I think ninjutsu, this guy thinks taekwondo, this guy thinks sumo, this guy thinks wrestling, whatever. And this guy just cleaned up everybody. It's the same story we all know. And I had that in the back of my head when I went into the army, thinking, I was picked out a little bit in high school too, a skinny guy or whatever. So I had kind of that chip on my shoulder going into the army.
Okay.
And man, all in my particular job in the army, we were infantrymen. We would just kind of grapple. We fought.
Right.
There'd be Ohio wrestlers, and and just everybody's just. I'm like, well, okay, once again, I could be at the bottom of the pecking order. I thought just by being in the army, I could be a little bit tougher than all my friends back home. Now that I'm in the army, I'm at the bottom of that and getting beat up. And I flashed back to those UFCs, and I got a hold of a VHS tape of Hoist and Horian.
Wow, VHS.
A VHS, yep.
Yeah.
And my buddy had kind of a similar situation, my battle buddy that I lived with. And we both just started because you don't want to turn down these challenges. So we just started focusing on ourselves and inventing, quote unquote, inventing moves based on what we saw in those. Mm-hmm. And in just a couple months, think about how effective that is. And anything else you try to learn, in just a couple months, we just stopped losing. We didn't win necessarily, but we stopped losing.
Okay.
And to take that out of the cat, I know I'm not going to lose. Now I got to figure out how to win. That revolution in my thinking, that empowerment, then I felt like I was a true soldier, and I then I was in love with it, but it was still fight. It was really rough and mean. And then when I come back to the States, I'm telling everyone about it, and they're like, that doesn't exist around here. We've seen the UFC too, that doesn't exist or whatever. And then I someone else heard actually a radio announcement saying down in Appleton, Wisconsin. I'm like, okay, I'm definitely not Appleton, Wisconsin of all places. But I made the drive down there, and then I walked in, and Keith Shook and John Hirsch and Mick Brentar were all there, and they said, you know, I'm like, I want to say, I saw them rolling around on the ground,
Yeah.
like 8 people, which that's a lot of people, you know.
Right, back then.
Yeah, and I'm like, I want to sign up. They're like, you know, hold on, just try a couple classes.
When was that? When you walked into that?
March 29th, 1997.
1997. I was 7 years old. Just to let you know.
7 years old.
7 years old.
Could have been doing jiu-jitsu.
Oh man, that'd have been awesome, dude.
Yeah.
What I would have give.
And yeah, I just signed up right there. I'm like, no, please, I know this is what I want.
That's what they said. They said,
These-
wait for a
don't-
couple classes.
Yeah, doing the right thing. Almost
Okay.
like to try to encourage me. Like,
Right.
don't jump in. Don't spend all your money. You know, you're a college student. Da, da, da. And it was all my money. You know, but it was like, I insisted, and they took it, and they took me under their wing, and they really mentored me, and it was like, they were great in a time of turbulent, like mean, aggressive. If it's not hurting, it's not working. Intense legal pain world we were in. They were had a good balance of nurture and nature.
Okay, cool.
And it was really, I'll never forget that, and I try to propagate that in my,
Right.
yeah. Because
That's rough. That's what people they have a question mark about that type of thing when they walk into a gym. You know,
Yeah.
is it going to be I'm going to 100% hurt the new guy, or is it going to be let's have people around so that we can actually, you know, train well?
yeah, there's I want to say, it might have been Duke Rufus that actually told me, and this always echoes in my head too. He said, if you break all your toys, you have nothing to play with. And I've said that 10,000 times since then.
That's okay. That's
Isn't that
great.
cool? It's
I mean,
genius,
bringing it
yeah.
up to today, that's a great saying to keep in mind.
Yeah, because
I
it's
mean-
like it's true. I mean, like these are people to build up. These are your friends. Like, build them up so that they can. Even if you want to be selfish about it, you want to look at the selfish. I just want to be good myself. Screw everyone else. Well, then the best way to do that is to surround yourself with great people. Get them great. Give them all of your medicine so they can get evolved. You know, immune to it, and then smoke you with it, and then.
Yep.
But
It's like growing a garden. You got to water each plant individually.
I like it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And also, on the other hand, too, pull the weeds.
Yeah.
A good gardener pulls the weeds
Yeah.
before they plant the seeds.
Yeah.
So you got to protect your people. Make sure if someone's not right it's not a good fit, pull the weeds first.
Yeah.
A weed in your garden is a plant in another garden.
Hmm.
You know, so like it's like a garbage in your garden.
I like that. Yeah.
So-
No, that's good. That's good. So 21 years, right? Since you walked into that first dojo, that first
Yeah.
academy.
Which is cool because I'm 42 years old.
And that's half your life.
Yeah, so now I've had more of my life with jiu-jitsu than without. So that was a cool
Yeah.
milestone for me.
Yeah, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. Would you have, I mean, what kept you going? 21 years is a long time. You know? Is there a specific goal you had in mind?
No, it was like I'd like to have the fantasy that I had this goal the whole time or whatever, but I started out with like, I need to kind of be able to beat somebody up.
Mm-hmm.
And it turned into and it just slowly got out of like that rough kind of immature angle on it. And just, I didn't know where it was going to go.
Evolved into something that
Yeah.
you had no idea from the start.
But I knew that I knew then, I was 21, like I knew that the way to get anything, so you can have all these little shortcuts and all these little hacks, but the only way to get good at anything is stick-to-itiveness, one foot in front of the other, just keep going, forget the trends, forget the waves, forget everything, just one foot in front of the other. And when you don't know where you're going, look straight down and move 1 foot forward, and just keep it consistent. Make it so you don't know a life without it.
Yeah.
And I think that's consistency. And so whatever that takes to make you consistent, does that mean you come once a week for the rest of your life? Perfect. It means 5 days a week and you're projected up to this, whatever it is. Everybody's different, but the only thing I've seen that of all the students we've seen come and go is the people that just 1 foot in front of the other. And that's what I did, and it's an easy answer, but difficult to execute.
Yeah. Baby steps are still steps forward.
Yeah, but you tell somebody, well, all I got to do is just keep coming and just keep. That's too easy. There's got to be a better way. And it's not. Like, you just have to physically do it. That's the hard part.
Yeah.
There's a difference between simple and easy. The answer's simple, but it's not easy. And that's just keep going, just keep. When you get injured, don't look at it as something to stop you. Look at it as, oh, great, now my path is determined for the next few weeks or months. I have to avoid my left wrist or my right foot or whatever. It just helps you keep moving. You should never see anything as something that's stoppable, that stops you.
Spe-
So,
Speaking of injuries, God, you've been doing it for 21 years. How do you adjust to injuries off the mat? You know, if injuries that don't allow you to train, right? Do you still show up? Do you have like a mental exercise that you use?
for sure. So habit is hard to build and hard to break. So I always tell everybody, myself included, when you can't be on the mats, which is 9 out of 10 times, you still can be on the mats.
Okay.
But if you don't have the discipline or the help from your training partners to keep you off the mats when you're there, don't even bring your stuff. But be there and be in that habit, because the habit of walking through that door, the hardest thing you did on your first day.
Just walk through that door.
Yeah. Wow. So keep doing that. So at least you have that. And you're watching, of course, you'll learn some technical stuff, and you're in the group, you're in the, like we were talking about before, you're in your family,
Yep.
and you're watching the actual techniques, but you're also just kind of, you're there. You don't know what's on TV at that hour on those days, because you're there. When you start to get replacements to your activity that you truly love, and that's what's scary. It's like, don't just be here. Even if just be here and work, get some work done, or play on your phone if you need to. Just be here. Have a beer. Just be in the dojo. Be anywhere but elsewhere.
Right. Right.
You know? Because that's what happens is like we said, when you're there, you're gardening. You're in the dojo, but when you leave, the weeds start to grow, and they're gonna infiltrate your life. You're gonna find something to replace it, and good for you if it's something you'd rather be doing. But you were in love with it for the first place, and why you got injured, because you're probably gung ho, and so don't fall out of love.
Right.
Nobody regrets. Nobody says, "Oh, thank God I took that year off."
Right.
Or those 2 years off when they do come back. I hear that all the time. Like, I don't know, because it started out with I hurt my wrist and I had to take 3 weeks off, and then, then this happened, this happened, this happened. All these things that this happened wouldn't have affected you if you're just in the habit of being in the dojo. So I say, when you do have an injury that keeps you off the mats, it doesn't keep you out of the dojo.
That's awesome. It's awesome mentality.
Plus the fact that when you are injured, you can still roll. Choose your partners carefully, or have them chosen for you.
Yeah.
Someone who can choose you. And like I said, a hurt shoulder is just a rock in the river. You'll find a way. It just says you're going to go to the left or the right. It doesn't mean the water stops.
Right.
If you're going to be paralyzed or something, or you're real sick or something like that, then just stay off the mats, of course. But be in the dojo.
Right. Man, that's good.
Habit first. Start with the habit, and there's some people that don't even get on the mats for a few weeks, but have them coming during the class, get there on time, leave on time, just to get used to the habit until they do get the courage to at least try the warm-ups, at least try the techniques. It seems weird to us that we won't want to just jump in and go.
Right.
Because it's so long ago that it happened, but a lot of people are like, just think about anything else you would go into, like archery or something.
Yep.
I'd want to at least see the range. I'd want to at least see how they line up
how people act around it, what you're supposed to do, kind of the etiquette of it.
Oh, for sure. Like, where are you pointing this thing?
Yeah.
And so I want to be sensitive to that with new people coming in, because you don't want to accidentally stifle someone's love that early.
Right away.
Yeah.
Right.
They'll have plenty of time to hate themselves and second guess themselves after they've been rolling for a while. But
It's got a sharper angle of decision there. Yeah.
yeah,
That's awesome.
I like that.
Sharper angle of decision.
Yeah.
I write them down. I memorize them. I prep that one for about 4 months. So
No, that's
don't
great.
worry about that.
Yes, sharper angle. What do you say?
Sharper angle of decision there.
I like that.
Yeah.
The earlier you make that 1 degree or 2 degree angle, the more it affects things off.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah. It's like geometry almost.
So stop it. I gotta get past algebra.
Write this down. What else? What other martial arts have you done that's like cross-trained for jiu-jitsu?
So the longer I've been in jiu-jitsu, those seem like smaller and smaller windows that I did train them.
Yep.
But at the time, they seemed like 50-50, half and half or whatever.
Right.
But I did some kickboxing. Would be the most recent. Judo and kickboxing were in the last 20 years.
Okay.
Have been the supplements. And a little bit of wrestling, but before that, it was everything. Just like everyone, every dude I'm a '90s guy. We are all taekwondo, karate, ninjutsu. We were ninjas in high school. We'd wear the mask, so and we had the claws on our hands. We climbed trees and jump up on roofs. Broke into our high school. We literally we were like those nerds.
Broke into a school. Yeah, I probably
to West High School in Green Bay.
I would have probably never wanted to do that.
Well, we were just weird ninjas. We weren't gonna get caught, man.
Oh, right.
And we had like the little things where we can make the fire out of the aluminum and the gunpowder. Yeah. Oh yeah, we were total nerds. Yeah. We had the Tommy boots.
Yeah.
I believe one of my buddies wore Tommy boots to high school. You wonder why we were picked on, you know. But we also played Dungeons and Dragons. But that's
D&D.
Yeah.
I mean, with the technology now, everyone plays something like D&D.
yeah.
Right.
But we were the nerds. Now you guys are all cool. So yeah.
So judo, that's cool. That's
Judo.
cool.
I just watched another class here up in Newfoundland Grafton with Greg Roloff, and it's just, we were talking about it too after class. It's just jiu-jitsu. It's the same thing. You know, I think with the martial arts, especially the grappling arts, just like in life too, it's a lot more effective to look at how similar they are than the differences.
Yep.
Everyone wants to look at the differences, like the rules in judo or the, you know, the whatever in jiu-jitsu, like just forget the exceptions until you know the rules. Don't
Right.
think outside the box until you know what's in the box.
Right.
And it's all the same damn stuff. And just with little different. Same as wrestling, sambo.
Just tweak it differently.
Yeah.
Yeah, just a bit.
differently later. For now, just accept that they're the same damn thing. Is physics don't change because you call it a different name.
Right.
You know?
Right.
So
It's funny because we were talking on the way up here, and I was describing judo and jiu-jitsu and sambo.
Who were you talking
and
to?
aikido, my girlfriend.
Oh, hi.
And she goes, sounds like a game of, what was it? Game of telephone. So with a can in the ear.
Yeah.
And she's okay. So somebody says one thing at one end, and it doesn't come anything like it started at the other end. And I'm like, oh no, this is the difference of judo. Judo's different from jiu-jitsu because of this.
So the sequence of these different grappling arts just sounds like they're almost the same, but they're getting sloppy.
Yeah. It gets
That's funny.
diluted throughout the line.
Like the one person started with jiu-jitsu, and then this person heard judo, and then this person heard samba, and then
Sambo.
whatever.
But it's all in the same string. Right? You know what I'm
That's
saying?
funny. That is funny.
So yeah, I see that the similarities there, and trying to explain that is, I'm like, no. Sambo's completely different from judo because, and she goes, oh, because they didn't want to wear pants.
It's easy to that snap judgment, right? The snap, like, oh, they don't wear pants. They wear red and blue. That's sambo. You know, jiu-jitsu, you know, they wear white.
Yeah.
Or tights.
Greg Roloff, man, that's a guy to take a method of training from, for sure. God, I gotta get him on the podcast too.
That'd be awesome. He's
like an iron
articulate.
whip. So here's my thinking of this podcast, right? So I had to get good at interviewing people or flowing with conversations or speaking in front of people, right? Which evolved into teaching classes, to be honest with you. Private lessons, all this other stuff, so I can communicate with people better. So now I'm at the 25 episode mark. I get to bring my buddy Jon Friedland on, right? I'm good enough to
You sound really good too. It's like, I don't know what you would have sounded like in the beginning. You were just a bro from Mankato when I first met you. A bro, popped collar bro.
Yeah, it was bad.
But like, you sound great now. I don't know what to compare that to.
Oh, I appreciate
take
it.
that for us. Yeah.
I appreciate it. But for Greg, man, I gotta strap in if I get Greg on here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I might need your backup on that.
I'll help. I
That
can help.
I'd be like, no, all right, John, go say something. No, I'm gonna go hide back here.
Yeah, he's got that intimidating voice, but he's obviously super articulate and intelligent and knows what he's talking about. But you are afraid of him a little bit when he
Just
talks, right?
a brilliant man.
Yeah.
And any guy that like pretty much, I feel, I know this isn't true, but beat cancer by just being him is like, he can beat a disease. I'm like a little flea to him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That guy, he's amazing. He's amazing.
Tough SOB.
Yeah. You're coming up on Tuesday though, right? Too?
Yeah. So that's tomorrow or Tuesday.
Yep.
Yeah, Josh Resnick.
And
And that's actually where I learned most of my judo from.
Really?
Back in the day, yeah. And he's a great instructor too. And I was actually talking to Greg about that too. And it's like he was just like one of the kids at one point. You know, like so. Josh was like, was younger. He's more like my age, I think, or a little bit younger. And so it's cool to have someone that we all look up to so much, Josh Resnick, as he was a kid once, or not, a kid, one of the younger guys in their club, or whatever. So it'll be neat to. I think Greg will be there too. So I'm looking forward to it. I haven't seen Josh in years now.
It's a great opportunity.
Josh is a funny. Here's a difference in ways of handling a situation. Me and Josh were. This was years ago. We're sitting outside after a class, letting our sweat hit the sidewalk, and a guy walks by, or it was before class, doesn't matter, but a guy walks by and kind of like maybe like a drunk guy or like just not all there.
Something off.
Something was off, and he's like, "Oh, you guys do the martial arts here? You, yeah." We're like, "Yes, we do. We're having a conversation here. You know, how can we help you? You know?" And he's like, "What would you do?" And he points at me. First he points at Josh and says like, "You don't look like much of a martial artist." I'm like, "Josh, I'll kill you." And then he points at me. He's like, "Oh, you look like a martial artist." I'm like, "Man, I'm malnourished." And, and then so the guy was already messed up. And then he says, pointing to me, he says, "What would you do in a situation where I came up on you, and I was like shoved you or whatever, like asking like a self-defense question."
Right.
And I said, "Well, man, I would see if I could just keep my distance from you and ask you if there's anything I can do to fix this situation. What's the problem? How can I help you? Is everything going to be all right?" And he's like, "What the hell?" So like, but then he looks at Josh and says, "What would you do if I started shoving you around or started giving you trouble?" He's like, "Well, I would introduce your head to the pavement." The guy stumbles back a little bit. He's like, "Oh yeah, all right." Pulls his pants up a little bit. That were falling off his butt, and he walks away. So Josh was a little bit more effective in that.
God, that's awesome.
Yeah, I would introduce your head to the pavement. That might have been 10 years ago now. That might have been 10 years ago he said that.
Oh, it's beautiful.
I thought that was cool.
Well, everyone expects that, right? Oh, you do jujitsu. Oh, all right. I'm not gonna piss you off. Right?
Yeah, depending, you get some idiot on you.
Yeah.
Oh, jiu-jitsu is great if you don't know how to fight. You know what I mean? It's like,
yeah, I don't know how you mean. Like I said, 10 years, 9 years, whatever I've been doing it, and I still have trouble describing jiu-jitsu to somebody else because it's easy to go, okay, so it's UFC without striking, right? Or it's not just that because it's such a camaraderie when I get here. You got the garden metaphor that we described before. It's more than just what happens on the mat. It's what happens off the mat too.
awesome. That's and one little tip I give to myself and others too would try to describe jiu-jitsu is before you describe jiu-jitsu, find out about them.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a lot easier when you know that they're a carpenter already or a gardener,
mm-hmm.
Or like a doctor or whatever, because you can use it through their terms.
Mm-hmm.
Speak their language before you expect them to speak yours.
Mm-hmm. Helps cut that sharper angle of decision.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. God,
Twofer.
Angle.
Twofer.
I'm taking that.
I'm
I like
on
that.
today. I'm
Yeah,
on
you
today,
are.
man.
You are.
Something like that. It must have been the 2 cups of coffee I'm sweating out right now.
I'm actually dripping from this. I'm gonna have another one.
Yeah?
I'm gonna have another one. Yeah.
Go make another one.
I mean, can I walk away?
I don't know. Can we? What time we got? 36? Yeah, we can walk away. We can do a part 2. You want to pause it?
I don't know how that works.
Thank you for listening. Please like and share Fight Horizon on Facebook, follow on Instagram, and drop by FightHorizon.com for more episode details, deals, and show dynamics. Like always, fight the horizon.